How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to SeaBed, where we've got a few other things we have to go and do right quick this episode. With all the chaos with my hard drive dying, we had some slip-ups here, but we'll get right into that because first thing I'm going to start off with is from the comment of the day, which is going to be from Illimaji, or Little Meiji, or Maji. I don't know what you're going for there. Maybe Little Meiji. I like Little Meiji, actually. I'm going to go with that one. So Little Meiji says, I know this is your re-recording, but your no reaction at 21:59 on Takako and Kozue, unless you forgot who she is. Winky, smiley face. If you're still confused, just watch your episode 17. Yeah, no, I read that. I was like, well, crap. What am I missing? And then I went back. What the heck? How? How is she there? How? She's the little girl. How? What the fetch is happening? I'm so confused. I don't even know. So thanks for pointing that out. Make my brain explode before I even watch the episode, or today's episode. And then you also say, look at the CG backgrounds of this episode. The Eastern style sanatorium, as you say, looks awfully Western. Joking aside, I think it's just Miyuko's room. 90 room. Okay. To be fair, yeah, it's not super Japanese, but I was commenting on the idea how the bedrooms that we see in Sachiko's memories have like 4-poster beds and like hand woodcraft furniture and just very European-esque style. And you remember we hear about like the family taking trips and out west to go and they bring back furniture from places like Spain and Italy and all that good stuff. Comparatively, when we go and see Miyuki's room, we see that they do the much more traditional futons for sleeping rather than the actual beds. Now you're right; it could just be her bedroom because Sanae's room, she has a bed, so it could just be that room in particular. Good point. But also, I also am remembering how the bathhouse scene also was very Japanese-esque versus like a Western bathroom, which would be a private one, most likely. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, no, nitpicky-wise, you're right. It's not like it's actually like a Japanese-style building from to begin with, but it looks more Japanese Eastern style in the Takako memories than it does in the Sachiko memories. And that's where the distinction was for me. But anyway, enough blabbing about that. Another thing I forgot. Someone else in another comment said that I had missed 2 tips that were unlocked at the end of episode 17. You are completely correct. They were part of the recording last time in my lapse of insanity that happened when the computer broke. I didn't realize I hadn't recorded and uploaded those. Like, it just slipped my mind to something I hadn't re-uploaded. So we're going to dive right into that first thing here, and then we'll see if we have time, because I remember the tips being really, really long. So we might just stick with the tips for this episode. It depends on how long they are and how much talking we have, but I remember them being quite intensive. Anyway, so that's why we're on the main screen right now. We're going to jump right in. So, to the tips. Man, this game, it's just going to break my brain, isn't it? I keep wondering when the chapters are going to switch over for here. So we were 008, 208, consultation room, bedroom, bathroom, kitchen. Okay, so I think, yeah, the consultation room we've done, the bedroom we've done. We have to do the bathroom and the kitchen. And if I remember correctly, they are kind of continuations of the bedroom, which is where we go, like, Narasaki went to check on Sachiko, and like the room was really cold, and the bed was empty, and she like was looking around, and she suddenly had a glimpse into like what looked like a different room that looks like it was the same yet different, where Sachiko and Takako were in bed together, and then suddenly it was gone, and so that's where I think we pick up, which is in bathroom. So yeah, fun. Oh, no music. It's always so eerie. Sachiko was in room 208's bed, her upper body raised. Her gaze was fixed in front of her. It didn't seem like she'd noticed me just yet. I tried addressing her, but received no reaction. Are you okay? Upon drawing closer to the bed, I noticed she was soaked all over and shaking from the cold. Oh gosh. Her face, and her skin in general, was paler than ever. I placed a hand on her bed. The thing was cold as ice. I called out her name and placed my hand on her shoulder. So yeah, like, this is weird because like so this is also a consistent theme. Like, she's freezing in this scene, but we've also seen like when Takako like feels like she's having like a lapse in memory of some kind, or she's trying to remember something, or she notices something odd, she'll get like the chills and like feel like there's a sudden breath of cold air. So like the cold is somehow connected to, like, I'm guessing the truth of what's happening. Like, anytime they start seeing some of the blurring of the worlds, like, the cold is kind of a theme. Called her, placed her hand on the shoulder. Can you tell who I am? Sachiko slowly looked up at me. As her eyes finally began to focus, she asked me, in a tone calm and natural, what I was doing in here so late at night. I came over to see how you were doing. Are you feeling okay? I'm a bit cold. I gave her a nod. You seem to be freezing. I think you should take a hot bath. Yeah, just calmly, like, go take a bath, while I try and puzzle out the mysteries of the universe. I stuck my hands under Sachiko's freezing knees and chest, lifting her up and carrying her all the way to the bathroom. I made her sit on the edge of the bathtub. However, as I was preparing the shower, she stopped me, saying she could handle that much herself. I took Sachiko's soaked clothes and left the bathroom. The loud hiss of the shower filled my ears. Through the glass of the Egyptian washroom, I continued keeping an eye on her. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of beyond, like, general privacy levels. Like, we don't want her collapsing in the shower or whatever. Still sitting on the edge of the bathtub, Sachiko poured some hot water on herself. White steam escaped through the slit of the open door. I leaned against the bathroom wall and organized my thoughts. A whole bunch of unnatural phenomena occurred in a quick succession. From how Sachiko's bed was cold to the touch, to how it was seemingly transported to a completely unfamiliar room for a brief period of time. I wanted to investigate the room again, but couldn't leave Sachiko on her own. It almost felt quite obvious that she was the center of it all. Sachiko kept telling me how certain things happened at the clinic that were odd. However, she had yet to say a single thing about the earlier phenomenon. It was possible that to her, what had happened wasn't odd in the slightest. I gave the notebook I'd previously placed on the bathroom shelf a glance. I ended up bringing it with me in the heat of the moment. After giving the shower another quick look, I picked up the notebook. That's so weird. I opened the last few entries, the ones I'd previously skipped. It had a passage about how Takako was feeling worse. She passed away due to an illness. There were no details regarding the exact nature of the illness, but it seemed like Takako wasn't hospitalized and instead received treatment at home. I looked for the date Sachiko came to my clinic, but there was no entry like that. I flipped back to the last entry. It was yesterday. It's so weird. So Takako went to the sanatorium. I presume that she passed away there. And but Sachiko believes that she was home up until the time she died. I heard the shower handle turn, accompanied by the sound of the water gradually stopping. I addressed Sachiko, successfully catching her attention. I'll bring you a change of clothes. Alright. You could also take a bath if you're feeling cold. It's okay. I think I've warmed up enough. Jeez, what the heck. I left the room to get her a change of clothes. Both the corridor and the room had returned to normal temperature, but I didn't feel like investigating that right now. I grabbed some clothes from the wardrobe and hurried back to the bathroom. Sachiko was still sitting on the other side of the glass door. As I placed her clothes in the bathroom basket, she suddenly asked me how long it had been since she came here. Today marks the 5th day. I've never stayed here for that long. Yeah. Are you sure I'm not bothering you? I'd rather you didn't think like that. This is my job. But I have to do my best to cooperate, right? It would certainly make the process easier. I suppose so. Is there anything in particular you want me to do? I thought about it, but I'm not sure. Everything in this clinic exists for a reason. Do you remember how you got here? I don't. I'm sorry. I was here before I realized it. There has to be something. What do you think? I thought back to the day Sachiko came here. The first thing she did was tell me about Takako. I tried to avoid the subject so as not to upset her, but perhaps that was precisely the hint for what she wanted from me. Maybe you came here to talk about Takako. To talk about Takako? What exactly? Let's see. For example, I don't know much about what happened to you two after you left Tokyo. I'd definitely be interested to hear more about that. All sorts of things happened. How about we talk about it for a while when you're done? I mean, if you're okay with it. In the middle of the night? I finally remembered what time it was. Still, I didn't feel like I'd be able to sleep. I figured it'd be the best to hear her out as soon as possible. I'm good as long as you're not too sleepy. Sachiko ended up agreeing to my proposition. Ugh. 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 It's all of it. It gives me itches everywhere. Sachiko finished her bath, got changed, and dried her hair in her room. In the meantime, I prepared some coffee, white chocolate, for us to snack on. A lot of coffee and chocolate in this anime, what I'm talking about, this visual novel. Sachiko sat down in her seat and began telling me about her memories of the past, starting from when they left our hometown. About how they were originally employees of a particular company, about how they quit, about how they traveled to countless countries together. How'd they have the money for that? And Sachiko summarized everything briefly, but with enough detail to give me a vivid picture of everything that happened. Okay, well, granted, I guess if you had two adults who are working jobs, don't have kids, don't have really anything tying them down, travel isn't actually that difficult. I don't know why I was so surprised by that. I guess it's they had a job, they quit, and then they travel. It's like, I'm guessing that when they traveled, they had jobs. Sachiko said, everything that happened. Okay. I went to a southern island with Takako quite a while back. As we were gazing at the stars there, she said that nothing had happened that would ever disappear. The same way we saw the light of the stars from 100 years ago in the night sky. As the same sight would still be visible in real time on some faraway place. I feel the same way. But if that's true, I wonder how far I'll be able to go without her. You remember her just fine, don't you? I hope so. Our conversation paused there as Sachiko took a sip of her coffee. She told me a large variety of stories, and all of them were easy to understand. I heard all about their plans for the future, the hurdles they'd ran into, and the ways they managed to overcome them. Her memories were clear and precise, like stories from a book. They all had roots, which connected to the trunk, and then the branches, ending in countless leaves and fruits, each of the story on their own. As a result, I didn't merely listen, I saw what she had once seen. Perhaps I really did want to talk to someone about Takako. Sachiko placed a cup on the table. I agreed. I'm impressed. You were getting around even better than I thought. I can tell what you were thinking about us. Sachiko made a faint smile. I mean, I'm impressed you retained your free spirits even while working for our company. It wasn't exactly easy, but it wasn't too hard either. You're always smart, and Takako is always decisive and the first to act. I think you made quite a team. Takako is actually really smart herself, at least when it comes to ideas and inventiveness. You should leave her to her devices for a couple of minutes, and she'll soon find something to amuse herself with. Even back in elementary school, she kept getting us involved in all sorts of stuff. Yeah, whether it's a game or a job, she never really runs out of ideas. Compared to that, I was no better than a dry well. I only survived because she kept sharing her water with me. Takako may have chosen you because you knew how to put that water to good use. Sachiko paused and focused on her eyes on the top of the table. Perhaps Takako noticed your talent from the very beginning. She has a pretty good intuition, too. Sachiko took a bite of the chocolate, sipped her coffee, and let out a breath. Her movements were smooth and deliberate, giving her a somewhat refined air. It looked like she'd finally managed to relax a little. I wanted to share my memories with someone. Up until now, if I ever had any doubts about something, all I had to do was ask Takako. But from now on, I'll have to start thinking for myself. But then, the memories we shared are too detailed and plentiful for one person. I'm not entirely sure I understand. Sachiko shook her head. I'm sorry. That was a poor choice of words. I myself don't understand half what I meant. I know you're trying to tell me something. It would have been better if I could have predicted it by myself, but it's okay. Thank you. Sachiko made a gentle smile. However, seeing that made me somewhat sad. There would probably never appear another person in her life who could understand her from half a word. And I knew that the parts no one could understand would sooner or later disappear from one's mind. But at least I can make sure to remember everything you tell me. The past won't change, even if I forget it. Memories and their loss is exactly what I'm researching. You could say I'm a professional at not letting people forget things. I just want some weight off my shoulders. I brought my chair over to the bed and kept talking to Sachiko until she fell asleep. I summarized the highlights of my conversation with her in a memo pad. The clock had just struck 2 a.m. Sounds like every night for me. It makes no sense. It's so over my head. I don't know. Did any of you follow this the first time you played it? Because good grief, I'm just like, I feel like I'm grasping desperately for something to make sense to me, and I just keep slipping through my fingers. There are some common elements, though. I think I've kind of gotten some stuff right, but at the same time, I keep seeing weird things that contradict what I'm thinking, and I just don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing! Anyway, I think this continues pretty much right where that last one left off. Complete silence descends upon the room as Sachiko fell asleep, almost as if time itself had stopped. I grabbed the notebook I found earlier and started reading it from the beginning. It felt a bit different after having heard Sachiko talk about these memories. Like it would lead me back to that cold, dark room. After reading through the entire book, I noticed the first pages. I returned to the first page. This time, I compared its contents with my own memos about what Sachiko had told me. I was hoping to find the date marking the divergence between the two. I read my heavy eyelids with one hand, while the other was busy holding down the diary. After some careful deliberation, I picked out a date. I placed the notebook on my knees and opened to the corresponding page. I read through the entry one more time, then put out a cutting knife from my coat pocket and removed all of its entries after that date from the notebook. I tucked those pages into my pocket. It was 4:30 according to the clock. I gave the black window a look. It almost looked like the darkness was swirling inside its frame. Okay. So... I think she woke up at 6. So, she took the notebook with Sachiko's thoughts and diary entries and memories, and she did some research comparing her memo, and she obviously has a better idea of the timeline than Sachiko does, because she can kind of identify a point when the stories have started to deviate from reality. And then she goes to that part of the book, and she, with a knife, exercises the true memories from the false. Perhaps going to have her read the real memories and not indulge the fake ones, and see if they can maybe tease out the truth for her. That would be my guess. My arm slipped from the armrest, pulling me out of my sleep. Sachiko slowly sat up in bed. Good morning. Good morning. After greeting me in a low voice, Sachiko looked at the clock. It was 12 o'clock. Wow. Hungry? Sachiko opened her mouth, then closed it again, and nodded. We left the room together and continued to the kitchen. I looked for something in the fridge that could be eaten with a little preparation. In the end, I had pulled out some bread, pork chops, cheese, and salad. Cheese. Yeah, easy, light food. Placing them all on a plate. I would have got a bowl of cereal. Okay, that's another thing. I guess... Alright. Another cultural question for any of you guys that have ever been overseas for a length of time. I know, I've heard in Britain they do breakfast, cold cereal, where you put the cereal in a bowl and then milk on top. What about Japan? Is that something that they would think is nutso? My impression has been that maybe it's mostly considered for tradition's sake, maybe it's for cost, but I get the impression that large consumption of meat and dairy products is just not as common. It's very It's a culture that still is very heavily vegetarian, I guess you could say, which is probably why they're also stinking healthy compared to us. But I don't know, like, do you guys have breakfast cereal in Japan? Does anybody know? Because if I ever go to live in Japan for like even a short period of time, like, I don't know, teach or just explore or whatever, I wonder if like finding breakfast cereal will be hard, because that's like my go-to easy breakfast. And if you've never had it before, come to my house. Have some cereal, man. I actually really hope to do that. I keep talking to my wife about that, and I'm like, at the very least, if we can't like go and travel as much as we want to, I want us to be in a position where we can be part of like a study abroad program, and like have people from other countries come and stay with us. I would, of course, be very interested in people from Japan because of my interest in the language. Hopefully I can learn it by then, and that way I could be a better host family, because obviously there's a massive language barrier that can always be very difficult. But I'd be open to anybody, honestly. Like, it'd be fun to open up our home to somebody who wants to just explore and experience another culture. Anyway, placing them on a plate, the pork chops, cheese, and salad. I cleaned everything from the table, carried the chair from the corner of the room to it, and made Sachiko sit down. As I was filling our cups with freshly made coffee, Sachiko finally gave me a sober look. Did it go well yesterday? I did all that I could. Sitting down in my chair, I pulled some cheese and salad onto my bread and took a bite. Sachiko mimicked me. One sandwich was enough to fill me up. Yep. Funny enough, I don't eat a ton. I may look like I eat bucket loads of food, but I really don't. I'm a pretty light eater most of the time. I think my only exception, for some reason, is pizza. I can pound pizza like it's nothing. I always regret it, but gosh darn it, that stuff's good. Everything else, I'm pretty decently portioned. Like, it's just one of those weird things where, I don't know. There's always that assumption that if you're a fatter or a larger person, that you just eat a ton of food. And while that can be the case for some people, I have a feeling it's less often than you'd think. And honestly, I would chalk it up to genetics. Not that that gives me an excuse. I still have to work on it. But like, for people like me, I really feel like, based on what I've seen and the things I've tried, for some of us, it takes something more drastic to try and make a big change like that, just because of the nature of our bodies. And like, it's a family thing too. My dad's, he has a massive thyroid problem, so like he barely eats anything, but he's like huge, and like it's a big health hazard for him. He actually, I think he just had his hips replaced, I think, because he was having so much trouble with them, and he's in like his 60s, 50s, 60s. Yeah, I think he's just crossed into the 60s. Man, he's old. I'm not in the 60s. What am I talking about? No, he's not in the 60s. I think he was somebody else's parents. I'm sorry. Oh, gosh, don't hate me, Dad. I think he just turned 50. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Based on my age and his age when he had me, yeah, that's 50 would be more appropriate. I'm sorry. If you're watching this, Dad, I'm sorry. I misremembered your age in the worst way. Anyway, enough about that. Other monkeys are sleeping, then eating at the moment. Meanwhile, Sachiko ate 3 sandwiches. Well, she needs it, the twig. Do you want me to bring you another one? No, I've had enough. You ate quite a bit, if I'm being completely honest. I was feeling really hungry. You had no appetite over the past few days, so that's a relief. I feel a lot better. Thank you. Sachiko took a sip of her coffee. More coffee. I picked up a slice of cheese that didn't fit on any of the sandwiches. By the way, most people couldn't, like, they drink coffee like at 2 in the morning. Most people wouldn't have been able to fall asleep very well. I mean, I probably would have. I'm not a big coffee fan, but I can pound caffeine and not have any problems falling asleep. It never seems to really do much for me. I think the sugar does more than the caffeine does for me. But other people, especially no. I don't know how they can drink coffee right before they fall asleep. Sachiko placed a cup of coffee on the table and glanced at the window. The outer part of the window was protected by black bars that were slightly bent at their edges. Beyond them, you could see the trunks of a tree in the inner yard. I couldn't tell exactly what she was looking at. I'll keep this diary for you. There was nothing but this interest in Sachiko's voice as she gave me her permission. Oh, that's what it's just. I'll keep this diary for you, and she's like, whatever. Feelings always fade with time. It's hard to maintain them if you live your life normally. Are you trying to console me? Yeah. That was so convoluted, I barely understood it. She's kind of grumpy. Sachiko made a cheerful smile and looked at her hands resting on her knees. We started writing that after Takako got sick. Perhaps it's best to do as you say. I'll keep it for you. Also, once you find that your mood has returned to normal, the sooner you leave this place, the better. Still holding her coffee cup, Sachiko thanked me with a nod. I met her gratitude with a smile. I'll prepare a bath for the evening. We ended up chatting half the night away, so how about we let some hot water wash the exhaustion away and go to bed early for now? Is that all I gotta do? Have lunch, take a bath, and then go to bed again? Dang. That sounds really nice. Oh, I just got really jealous of fake people on a video game. Well, not really fake. They're pretty real. Like, that's the thing about visual novels. It brings, like... Oh, wait, whoops. Crap. I didn't mean to click that button. But yeah, it brings people... It brings people to life in a way that's, like, so beyond movies and everything else. Books are probably the closest thing. I mean, it's a visual novel, but, like, for some people, I think a book might do better, but for me, the visuals added to the story just make it so much more real. That's why I get so freaking emotionally exhausted playing these games. Good grief. Alright, so we have a little bit more time before this episode gets kind of long to the point where I'd want to stop. So I'm going to jump back into the story, but we're not going to get too far in it, I'm sure. But yeah, those tips are important. So thank you for the reminder. Glad I did them. So yeah, we're going to go right into here. So we're back in Takako's experience. And I think the last thing we saw was we were Sane, and she had the conversation about like why all the rooms lock from the outside. And that was because patients who had completely lost all of their memories, or at least like the feelings of their memories, were like vanishing, and they couldn't figure out where they were going. So after that kind of creepy little story, let's get right back to it. I said my goodbyes to Sane and left the room. Sane, still waving at me, disappeared behind the door. Wearing only my short sleeves, I felt the corridor to be somewhat chilly. The nighttime cold of the mountains seeped through the transparent windows. I have terrible insulated windows. I actually get it replaced. It sucks. It's such a toll on our bills in the summer and winter. I shoved my hands into my pockets and continued down the corridor. A strong gust of wind rattled the windows, startling me. Jeez, if it's rattling them that loud, they might not even be in their housings correctly. Glancing at the window, I saw only the reflection of myself and the door behind me. I thought back to Sane's story. I wonder if I should check the doors of all the rooms on my way back, just for the heck of it. Well, that could be interesting. All the doors had the same design. Their knobs were identical. There was a small gap between the door and the floor. The faint light in the corridor was not enough to fully illuminate it. It felt almost as if the darkness was slithering out of the rooms through it. The windows rattled behind me again. Creepy. Brought back to reality by the sound, I gave up on looking at the doors. I reached to the spiral staircase and ascended to my floor. Temperatures began to rapidly fall, starting with that night. Around midnight, the wind rattled my window so bad I half expected it to break open. Jeez, that'd be terrifying. It made me jump out of the bed, reminding me of what Mayuko and Sane said about the wind around this time of year. I wondered what would become of the leaves on the trees I saw through Sane's window. There was no way they could withstand the wind this strong. Got back to my bed and turned on my side to the fetal position. Making sure not to accidentally open any gaps on my back, I closed my eyes. Okay, all seems normal and good. The temperature suddenly dropped in the next morning, just like Mayuko and Sane had warned. Oh, and Sane caught a cold. Okay. What just happened? That's weird. Holding the folded towel by its two ends, I gave it a hard wring. The water in it had absorbed dripped down into the basin below. I placed a cold, wet towel on the forehead of the feverish Sane. Oh, that's not a cold. That's a full-on fever. That's not good. Guess we're at the turning point of the seasons. It was really cold yesterday, too. Sanae blinked a few times instead of a reply. You still feeling out of it? Guess it's gonna be rice gruel or something along those lines for lunch then. I'll have Mayuko bring it to you. Aren't you bored? Yeah, it's a shame we can't talk much. But it still beats being cooped up in my room. I made a long yawn. When I opened my eyes, I saw Sanae staring right at me. I couldn't sleep that well yesterday. You should sleep. I'm going to be fine. Oh, no, sorry. That was... Switch the roles. Dang it, I hate that. I couldn't sleep that well yesterday. You should sleep. It's going to be fine, said Sanae in a small voice. I'm good. Sanae regarded me for a few moments and finally closed her eyes. Do you want me to read you something? Rather, I'd like to hear the continuation of your story. Which one? The story about your trip. The one you didn't finish last time. Ah. Oh, going back into a memory, I guess. Interesting. Oh, that's a very real... I think that's a real picture. Oh man, it reminds me of Hawaii. After filling our stomachs at the port, we rented ourselves a car. During our test ride along the seashore, we spotted a flock of seagulls flying above the sea. The wind's pretty strong here. I like towns with strong winds. It lifts my spirits. Once the traffic lights dangled above the road changed to green, we made our turn and returned to town. Oh, now this is San Francisco looking. The well-kept streets... oh yeah, because that's right, it's a continuation of the story. The well-kept steering wheel felt right at home in my grip, while the neatly polished front window gave me a clear and beautiful view of the scenery. As we rode up the hill, all we could see was the horizon line of the asphalt to the clear blue sky stretching above. My gosh. Every time I look at San Francisco stuff and they talk about those hills, that's gotta be something else. And I also thought, like, as I learned how to drive, like, the manual stick shift growing up, I saw like pictures of San Francisco. How would people not kill themselves trying to drive up that road in a stick shift? I'd be terrified to stop, because if you stop, you have to shift, and if you shift, you're probably gonna die. I spotted a few woolly clouds drifting across it. Eventually, we reached the top. Our red rental car returned to the horizontal position, but it lasted only a few moments and we were soon on our way downhill. This time I could see the azure sky and a port in the distance surrounded by colorful houses and some woodlands. Wow! The uneven terrain made the city even more scenic, letting you observe it from a variety of angles. As I looked down the slope, I spotted some pink and white flowers growing by the side. The stone-paved road extended before our car through what seemed like a garden of sorts. The thick greenery higher up prevented me from seeing the end of the road. Okay. Releasing the brakes and promptly shifting to acceleration, I began to make my way down. Okay, yeah, so they had a stick shift. How did they survive? Through the window on the passenger side, Sachiko gazed out at the colorful flowers as they danced, her own hair wildly fluttering in the wind. Ooh, there was a huge and gorgeous Art Deco style bridge connecting the port and the neighboring town further down the road. The two towers supporting the bridge were so huge, it felt almost as if they were touching the sky. I leaned forward to have a better look, but the rear view mirror sparkled in the sun, momentarily blinding me in one eye. Dangerous while you're driving. The setting sun painted the western sky orange while making the ocean waves appear like brilliant sparkling gold. The waves reached all the way to the bridge, lending a golden hue to its lower part as well. The towers appeared to almost be melting in the sky as that golden glow embraced the edges of the sun, began sinking deeper below the horizon, painting the entire scenery orange. I'm really glad it didn't rain today. Yeah? I drive across the suspension bridge, started with observing how the matted red structure was only slowly taking on darker hues. Wherever. I began singing a song, humming the parts where I'd forgotten the words. I made Sachiko smile and comment on how old I was. Whew, after spinning the wheel so much, it's nice to finally have a relaxing, straight road to drive on. I straightened my arms and back. Do you want me to drive on the way back? No need. I'm good. So, see, Takako's like me. I actually love to drive. It can get tiresome and I might need breaks every once in a while, but I absolutely I enjoy being behind the wheel, especially if I can listen to a good book or some music or a podcast, you know, like just being in a bubble of my own just contemplations while driving. It's really fun. Click. I changed the gears and stepped on the gas a bit harder. A classic rock song being blaring on the radio when I pressed a button on it. The kind you'd like to hear at times like these. I'll hear all the time these days. I lowered the sound a little. Oh, there's the fog. I wonder if that's mist. Sachiko, who was looking at the gulf of the window, pointed at the cars ahead of us. Their lights were about to disappear in some haze. So that was Sachiko speaking inside. It looked like the wind swept some mist out our way from the gulf. It swiftly covered the water below the bridge and was now rising up to where we were. It had already covered most of the road. Are you gonna be okay? I can see the cable. It shouldn't be a problem. The white dense mist hid the road in front of us like a cloud. No, you slow down. You might not see the cars. All we had was the orange-red cable to guide our way. We drove across the vanilla-colored cloud with our eyes fixed on the cable extending from one of the towers. If I woke up in a place like this, I'd think I was dreaming for sure. Yeah. Our car drove over the clouds. The sun dipped behind the golden-tinted cloud in the western sky. You think we're gonna be okay? What do you mean? At this rate, the road might very well lead us straight to Wonderland or Heaven. That sounds like... No. That was Takako lying. Gosh darn it. I can't keep track of who's speaking. Sachiko gave the scenery in front of us a look before glancing back at me with a gentle smile. I wouldn't mind that. As the wind picked up, our car was swallowed up by the surrounding mist. I pulled the switch next to the wheel and made our headlights blink. The mist reflected their golden glow. For a while, I observed the spreading clouds and the high towers peeking out from behind them until I heard an abrupt sound of a horn. Oh! Honk! Honk! Even after I floored the gas pedal, the sound continued to echo across the mist. Sachiko looked out the window and listened in. I think that's the horn. I think that's the horn of a ship. It's coming from below. I wonder if it's signaling its place so it doesn't collide with anyone else. I decelerated to our previous speed and made our tail lamp blink as well. Sachiko lowered the volume of the radio. Now I could definitely tell the sound was coming from below. Oh, I can actually hear it. There are all sorts of sounds in the world, huh? I returned my gaze to the towers peeking out from behind the veil of mist. After a few more honks, the mist cleared up and we continued onwards. Interesting. I could see the same blue sedan in front of us. Before we realized it, the sun had already set. Okay. So, solid transition here. So what's that mean? We're going back to Sachiko? Nope, Takako still. The moment I left the room, the chilly air outside made me shiver. Groaning, I wrapped my arms around myself. I suddenly realized it was exactly what my grandmother used to do. The black window frames rattled, making the corridors feel even colder. Yeah, it sounds like they have an insulation problem. I know that tone. On the other side then loomed the sky lightly covered by clouds. The camphor tree in the yard continued to sway in the wind, shedding some of its leaves in the process. I followed the leaves with my eyes while turning towards the east wing. I could hear the sound of a knife hitting a chopping board. Miyako was busy preparing lunch behind my back. Not minding her, I kept my eye on the small pot in front of me. Chopped vegetables and rice were being steamed together. The shredded radish and carrots and sliced shiitake mushrooms and the chopped onions and the rice gruel were all gently wobbling in there. I think it's starting to boil over again. It should be about done now. I scooped up a small portion and put it in my mouth. It's hot, but good. Can I have a taste too? I think the taste is a bit strong though. Miyako came over and opened the lid, her expression instantly clouding over. Uh-oh. Did you put curry in this? Just a little. The taste is too strong, said Miyako after putting some of it in her mouth. You think so? It's not good for someone who just got over a fever. Yeah, great job, Takako. Don't add curry to something just because you think it needs it. The room we're using for the cafeteria had a long black wood table with several chairs around it. How they managed to bring that table into the room was a mystery to me, though. Sitting in one of the chairs was a certain someone with fluffy hair. I circled around the table, set down my tray, and sat in front of her. Long time no see. How you doing? Fetch! What the heck? Why is she here? And she looks exactly the same. Oh my gosh. Oh, what is even happening? Oh, how? How? That's a dumb question. Why? I'm here because I'm not doing well. Well, that's true in most cases, but there are exceptions to everything, right? Kozuo furrowed her brows as I removed the lid from the pot. Wanna have a taste? I asked, but Kozuo shook her head. I haven't seen you in a while. Where have you been? Nowhere special. I wonder if we just missed each other then. Perhaps I was avoiding you. I felt something pierce my heart just now. Doesn't seem like it was much of a fatal injury for you, though. Sorry, she's a vampire. You need to use a wooden stake, not words. That's because I'm headstrong. Kozuo placed the cup with water on the table. Are you in a bad mood? Maybe I can help if there's something on your mind. I'm okay. On the tray before her rested a bowl of rice, a plate with sweet sour pork, some boiled fish, and a single strawberry. There was also a bowl of carrot and some bean gomae. Gomae. Is that right? Gomae? Gomae. Bean gomae salad. I'm thinking, okay, what is it? Chickpea salad, maybe. Is that another word for chickpeas? Next to the tray. That makes sense. Man, they're good. Kozuo picked up an okra with her chopsticks and put it in her mouth. Do they grow okra in Japan? That's I associate that with the southern United States, southeastern United States. Was that okra tasty? It was okay. I don't like sticky stuff, which is why I'm not a fan of the mountain potatoes here. I think I saw you eating natto earlier. I love natto. You're like a little child. Hey, natto's good for you. Is there nothing you don't like, Kazuha? No. I see. I scooped up a spoonful of rice gruel. It had already cooled off to the perfect temperature. The taste of curry was a bit strong, though. Good grief. Kozuha ate her food with almost machine-like precision. The wind rattled the window. Gosh, it's terrifying. I looked behind me and gazed outside through the large window. The cloudy sky made an interior of the room darker than usual. What the fetch? The lights inside suddenly blinked. Looked up at the ceiling. They're acting funny again. We changed them just the other day. I wonder if the age of this building is the problem. Maybe there's something off with the wiring? The ones in the lobby staircase were acting up too. I would guess it's an electrical issue then. Miyuko said she might have to change them again. Or changing them fix it temporarily. That's weird. Ah, that's right. I took out a piece of cardboard from my pocket and handed it to Kozuha. What's this? An invitation from Miyuko? That's your handwriting, though. The card had a fantastic illustration of stars and clouds drawn on it. The date and time were written below that. She asked me to write it. Is that for Christmas? Yes. It's been a while, so we're all getting together and having dinner together. Make sure not to be late. What if I don't go? The food will go to waste. And what's this about a dress code? It's a party. If you don't have a dress, I can lend you mine. Kozuha finished her final piece of fish with what little rice she still had left and gulped down the remaining miso soup. Well, I'm full. You're going already? I addressed her as she picked up her tray. She cocked her head to the side, seemingly nodding. It's been cold lately, so be careful. I choked on that one. Sorry. I addressed her back while scooping out another spoonful of curry gruel. Interesting. What the heck is happening? I will save Sanae's room for next time, but gosh, So we have a time traveler here, apparently. Is she the freaking doctor? I don't know. What is even happening now? It's like she exists in 2 different times, 2 different worlds, and maybe that's why she's obsessed with learning about like the structure of the building and like how it's laid out and its history and everything. So crazy. Oh my gosh. But hey, that's what it was for, right? It's for this crazy ride we're on. But, and all is well that ends well, I suppose. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, it's a pleasure having you. And I love hearing your thoughts. Can't wait to hear like what you guys think of my ranting and wailing at my inability to comprehend what's happening. I'm trying hard, guys, but it's too much. Too many questions, not enough answers. But I suppose we'll get them eventually. So, I don't know. So leave a comment if you like. It's really nice to have support for this series. It is probably the smallest series we have right now, but that's okay. It's all about good stories here. It's not about doing things that are popular. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Until the next video, watch with me or whatever you see me in next. I'll see you there.